Hello. Today we are going to begin discussing text features. Text features are typically things that we find in nonfiction books, and they include, they're basically features within the text that help to highlight or make more prominent certain parts of text. So because we've been talking about transportation engineers, I thought I would show you how we can incorporate science and social studies into our English language arts lesson through looking for text features. So I'm currently looking in Epic Books. And I created this because I'm not able to be with you there this week. Trust me, I would rather be there with you than where I am right now, or will be when you're viewing this. But anyway, so Epic Books is a wonderful website to go to find books that you can read with your students, whether you are in person or virtually meeting, so either synchronously or asynchronously. So if we're looking for, what I would begin doing is saying, all right, let's do a book walk. Let's do a book walk. So what do we see? Okay, so we have a table of contents. What does that show us? What does that tell us? Oh, yeah, it tells us what to expect as we're reading through our book. Oh, look, an N is an abbreviation. Anyway, this Epic Books are absolutely epic. I guess that's why they call it Epic Books. Trying to change the page. Alright, so we would continue going through the book. Oh, look, there's a nice big picture. What does that picture tell us? Oh, it looks like we're in a big city. Oh, it tells us right there. Look at that. It's in New York. Also, we can see up here, this is nice big letters that are bold. Would that be a text feature? Yes, it is. Okay. Also up here, look up here, we have it tells us what the name of the book if we forget. Who wrote the book. Oh, we have page numbers right there. Look over here. We have some more bolded words. And would this be considered a text feature? Why? Why do you think? Maybe to separate the sections, to tell us that we're at a pause where maybe as a teacher we can stop and ask a question about what the students just read, or as a student, as you're reading, it gives you pause and time to reflect before moving on to the next page. Let's continue going. Oh, look at this. We have another picture with another caption. And over here. Now, question, my college students. How many of you you see something like this and you just skip over it? I can't see your hands, but I can feel them. Yeah, I know because I've done it too. But after teaching about text features and things to 3rd and 4th graders for so many years, I've learned how very important these little guys are. So little snippets. And again, why are those there? They're there to add to the text that is up here. Continue going, more pictures. Oh, we see chapter 2. We know it's chapter 2 because the text feature tells us. Okay. Continue. More little things to help to accentuate or to add on to the main content. We can see some vocabulary That's a cool picture. More pictures, blah, blah, blah. Okay, and I fast forwarded a little bit so we can see, oh, there's a glossary. Is this a text feature? Absolutely. So that way if you're like, oh, monorail, where did I find that? What does that mean? Then come back in here and they can see, oh, okay, monorail. That's what that is. If you want more information, this gives you more information where you find that. Websites. There's an index. Gotta love a good index. Okay. And if you want to know about the author, it's right here. Okay. And what's really nice in Epic Books is, hey, I found that interesting. Maybe I want to read more. So this is one of the text features that the technology of Epic Books has included. Okay, so we would have read that book or done the picture walk through that book together as a class and during our ELA time, because text features is one of the standards in English language arts. If you look, it's pretty much across the board as far as grade levels are concerned. But did you notice that the content of the book, so our focus is on the text features, but the content is about transportation and transportation engineers. This is how we can integrate, our math and science and social studies and everything into ELA. Now, once we've gone through something together as a class, then we would go through and read the story together as a class. And as we're reading the story, we're looking for headings, subheadings, captions, all these other text features that we may find. And notice that in this graphic organizer, I left a couple blank because there may be something that we find that isn't identified here. Who knows? The particular book that we were reading didn't have any graphs or charts, but the one that your students may be reading may. So you go through and say, okay, so what page did we find that on? And how did that text feature help the reader? And then you're getting the students to think critically about why, okay, if I'm the author, why would I put that into my story? Okay? And then after we would fill this out together as a class, then we create one of my favorite things to do in English language arts. We would create book clubs. Book clubs are a fantastic way to engage your students on the level that they currently are in the content and also practice their comprehension and fluency skills. Alright, so you start with a basic folder, okay, and you simply take an index card and tape it onto that folder. Something like this. And since our focus is on, for this particular example, since our focus is on transportation and transportation engineers, but also text features, I know I'm going to be looking for books about transportation that are nonfiction that contain some of those text features. And also, say I'm teaching a first grade classroom where I have students from anywhere from a kindergarten, pre-K reading level to a 3rd or 4th grade reading level. So I would choose my books accordingly. So we'll say that this is one of the books that I will choose. And of course, before choosing it, I'm going to go through and make sure that it has the text features that I'm looking for. And in scrolling through, I can see, yes, this definitely has what it is I'm looking for. Also considering vocabulary. Does this have the vocabulary that I'm looking for? And absolutely it does. So even it has transportation engineers. Whoop, 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 whoop. Okay, so for this particular group, I would go back to my lovely folder. In this particular book, I can see that there are 3 chapters, and presuming that I know my students, and these particular students' reading abilities, I can tell that each chapter should take about 1 day of the instruction that we are, of the time for instruction and working that we have. So I'm trying to plan a 5-day lesson for my students. So knowing that, I have my folder and I have my Post-it on there, and I go ahead and I put, and this is just for one of the stations, I will put the name of the book on this particular book club's folder. Okay? And each day there will be instructions. So the students will see that, okay, so day 1, we're reading chapter 1 and filling out the graphic organizer. Day 2, pretty much the same thing. Day 3, again, as the teacher, I would review the text features, and then the students would go to their book clubs, which contain roughly 2 to 3 students in each club. And then day 4, the students would know that they are to prepare to present the text features from their book to the class. And then, of course, this is where you would offer your students some choice as to how they're going to present. That is helping to beef up that intrinsic motivation, maybe giving them a choice board or something like that. And then day 5, our students would actually present the text features to the class, because the best way to really truly know that you understand something is to teach it to other people. Okay? And I would do this with every single group of students in my class. So each group of students would have their own folder, their own day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, their own individual books. Now, you may have 2 groups reading the same book. That's fine. But the idea is that everyone is reading at a level that within their zone of proximity, where they feel a little challenged, but not too challenged to where they're discouraged and want to give up. But they're all focused on the same outcome, which is they're focused on their text features and the science and social studies behind transportation engineers. Now, inside each folder is everything that the students need for their book club. Okay, so in this case, it would be our text feature graphic organizer. Now, if you have students that need more help, this would be one that actually has the text features listed. And then for the students that don't need quite as much help, maybe are a little more independent, then you can leave those off. This is just one way to differentiate to meet the needs of those students in your class. Again, considering your ZPD in your class, the zone of proximal development. So one question that many novice teachers don't even think to incorporate is, what do you do when they get done, if they get done early? What if you have a group that is, they're on target, they're getting things done, and what do they do when they're done?
Well, they sit at their desk and they get out a book and read. Or they go and help a partner.
No, you want to keep them focused on the task, the standards that are being taught, which again, in this particular case, are text features and are transportation engineers. And so, inside their folder, you also have supplemental materials. And not like a word search or something like that. I mean, come on, guys. We only have so much time during the day to truly work with our students. Let's use it. Let's use it to the greatest capacity that we can. So one thing you could have the students do, in the back of the majority of the books that I've been looking through, they have to learn more. So you can have them explore these, explore this and look for additional text features. Another thing you could do is give the students just text and say, okay, so what do you think about this story? This, of course, I just grabbed a story that I could find. The first one that popped in my mind was The Three Little Pigs. Now, I would have chosen one that has to do with transportation engineers, whatever. Probably should have done that, but anyway, you're getting the point. And then have the students recreate the story. They have all the words. Recreate the story, but by adding in those text features. So that could be that's kind of the extend. And also it's a nice thing for students to do if they do get done early. So it can be extra credit, it can be just something fun for them to do. So that would also be in the folder, and then one side of the folder I would have is the like the graphic organizers, the unfinished work, and then the other side would be the finished work. So that just brings you back to our lovely folder, and that's how you do a book club. Pretty straight and simple. It takes a lot of work behind the scenes, again, in our iceberg, everything below the surface. But as a teacher, this gives you an opportunity to work more one-on-one with small groups of students. All the students are engaged in their own books pertaining to not just the ELA standard, but also the science and social studies and or health and math. Can you do this with math? Absolutely. So everybody's engaged, and the students are able to meet with you and work with a partner and get stuff done. Pretty awesome, eh? Speaking of math, can you do these kind of things with math? Absolutely. If we're talking about author's purpose, or main idea in detail, or sequence of events, or whatever it is that we're doing in ELA, you guys, incorporate subject matter into it as well. maybe in social studies you're discussing medieval times, and in math maybe we're focused on geometry. Well, circumference and the Knights of the Round Table, of the first table, oh my gosh. Okay, hang on just a second. Here is the perfect example. Okay, so here in this book we have, by the way, his name is Sir Cumference. Get it? His wife is Lady Di of a meter diameter. And the carpenter's name is Geo of Matree. And look at this, we have some text features in here as well. No way. And there's math. Wait a minute, we can do math and literacy? Absolutely. By the way, I just went ahead and typed in math and into Epic Books, and this is what all came up. The Math Fair Blues. I mean, there's so many things out there, you guys, that are optional, and this is just on one website, Epic School. And one of the things I really like about this, again, it tells you the age level of the book, how many pages is in it, and it gives you a little explanation of what it is, so a little overview of what the book is. So this is a great website to use. Now, like I said, I would prefer that we had this lesson together in class, but you know, life is what it is, and it's a good opportunity to show that just because life happens doesn't mean that education has to stand still. I mean, you know, the lesson continued. Yay! I'm a huge fan of book clubs. What I used to do with my colleagues is I would have one particular set of books for a book club a week, and my neighbor would have another set, and then after the first week is done, then we would swap, and then we would do, the next book club. This is a great way to focus your students on multiple content, and with rich ELA, and I don't know, it just works. Now you're going to have an opportunity to create your own book club based on whatever it is that you are getting ready to teach in your current field. Okay, so I believe most of you are teaching math, so you may want to go to Epic Books and pick a few stories. Talk to your teacher. You may not be able to implement this. You may be able to implement this. I don't know. Either way, I want you to do this. You're going to create a week's worth of a book club for your students. It's going to be virtual, so that way, whether you are there in person, face-to-face, or you're not. Maybe you can give it to your mentor teacher, and your mentor can implement the book clubs later on. That's between you and your teacher. But anyway, this is what you're going to do. So look in Canvas for the full explanation of the assignment. All right. Love y'all. Be smart. Stay safe.